Hello, welcome back to the James Ramblin Reviews, and in today's video I'm going to give you my full review, the full review of Stranger Things 5 Volume 1. This is not the full Season 5 yet, as there's still parts of it coming out towards the next week or so and into the end of December, so there is all of that. But just so you know, I have done a quick reaction to the season, and what I did say in that just briefly here is that I did enjoy it, but I also was kind of critical of the choice to make it the way that it was. How there was moments where I felt like there was so much going on where you're trying to enjoy the show, but you're just losing track of the storyline. You're trying to watch it and you're like, oh man, there's like one thing there, another thing there, and something up here, there's something down there. Like I described in my quick reaction, was that it just felt like it was all over the place, and I was like, where is this going? Is this going to get any better? So there is all of that, and I'll link down below my reviews of Stranger Things. I have enjoyed Stranger Things. I've kind of warmed up to some of the other seasons, like season 2 and 3, but I would still say after that rewatch that the first season is still the best season. I mean, that's not even a question. So there is all of that. So I'll get into like my good, my mixed, and my bad of how I felt about this. So the first thing I'll say about Stranger Things Season 5 Volume 1, and there will be spoilers in this video, but the good parts about Season 5 is that they actually give Will a reason to push on and actually be pretty prevalent in this season. I like that factor alone, because we know that in season 1 he goes missing on that night in Hawkins in 1983, but the fact that they decided to give us a backstory, an origin, a scoop into how he was kind of like the agent all along and how he was connected to Vecna. Now that is some really spicy, interesting stuff. I was hooked from the get-go on that point alone, and I just feel like every moment with Will has a reason to keep me watching this show. He's probably my favourite part about Stranger Things Season 5 Volume 1. There's just something about him this time where the audience is the people that wrote this want the audience to literally invest in the character, and they've done it this time. You were invested in Will when he went missing, you want to know where he was going, and then it's like in this season, instead of all the other new characters and then having the usual suspects, this one feels like, hey, Will is the guy you need to watch out for this season, because he's got something cooking in the background, and how they show the backstory and how they show you the connection with the Upside Down, with Vecna, with his abilities, all of that stuff. Now that is awesome stuff, because it just shows you they have created something that they believe in. The Duffer Brothers have created something that they do believe in. So there is that. I do enjoy that. The acting is still engaging. The actors still kind of care about doing the show, so none of that's disappeared. So I enjoy that about the season, that Will and Vecna, the Upside Down, things are starting to crawl into place. And no pun intended, the first episode of Volume 1 is called The Crawl, but everything's starting to come into place. Everything's starting to really, come full circle, and you're like, hey, Will is connected to the Upside Down, so that's what I like. What I really am so worried about is the utter amount of storylines. Like, Stranger Things is becoming famous for this now. Like, if you know about the other seasons, like especially season 4, where there was the gang where they were in California, and then they were in the Upside Down, and then they went this way and they went that way, and then eventually it came together, And that's what it feels like with season 5, is that it's trying to do the same thing as that. It's like, these guys are over here and that guy's there and this is up here, right? So that is what I will say I do not like about it. But what I do appreciate within those storylines is the fact that Dustin really got that moment at the graveyard, so I liked that. But then that kind of gets brushed to the side, because then we also have to introduce this new character called Derek, who's called Dipshit Derek at the start of the sort of volume, but then he turns into Delightful Derek, and then parts of even that storyline, I'm going to have to say this is my own opinion, that the Derek storyline is still taking a minute to gel with me. As I sat back and binged it all yesterday, I was processing it in my mind. I was like, the Derek storyline is going to take a minute to get used to, because he's a really strange character where you feel as though he is just comic relief, just there to play for the jokes and have a laugh. But then another part of it feels like sinister, eccentric sorcery at play, where this Derek guy, has got some sus connection to Vecna and the kids. That whole crazy phenomenon, that whole reveal with how Derek and his family are connected to Vecna, like all of that stuff. I don't despise it, but I'm just like, whoa, that's a crazy thing to throw in there. And the whole reveal with Maxine, and how there's the other character, like Holly, or whatever it was, that little girl, she goes missing and she's with Vecna in this other universe, like all of that stuff. It's cool, it's engaging, and then it is all of that. You're hooked on what you're watching. But then I have to be honest, like I did say earlier in this video, that it was those storylines where it was just boom, 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 boom. But it's not to say it's bad or anything. So that's what I'll say about season 5, is that you can just tell that I'm enjoying it. There's good acting. It's just the storylines just need to really start to fester and start to go somewhere. And that is what I liked about how once the ball started rolling with Will, and then when we started to get like deeper into these episodes, you do get climax. While it's a cliffhanger and you're just like, whoa, Vecna, look at the way he looks now. It's just like, that's the whole feeling I had. I have to be honest with you, that this channel is about reviewing things honestly, and honestly, yeah, that's how I felt, is that all the storylines were in that certain way. But the climax of episode 4, let's get into it. Let me spoil a little bit of this as well, because there was glimpses of this in the trailer, but that whole thing when they were at the military base, and then you see the monsters jumping out of that pit and all of that stuff, and how Vecna starts just going like this, and going like this, and going like this, and just throwing guys about. That's like, yeah, that's where we need to see this. And then you see Will unlocking this sense of aura about him, where he's gonna try and save his friends from Vecna, and it's not actually in a cheesy way. So that's what's good about it, is that it does feel like it is grand and epic by the end of episode 4. So all of it kind of does come together in a certain way. It's just the road to get to, this type of thing. It really did take some time to really sit with me and process it, with how there was that many storylines and all of that. But I have to keep the faith here, because I have a feeling that what I expect from season 5 going forward is that everything will come together. So I've said the good. My complaints, my good part was Will was probably the favourite, always my favourite character this season, I think. Like I said, it's just something about that. And then I've said that stuff about, the storylines, how there's so much going on. I exaggerated it in my quick reaction, but that's kind of the feeling I had in my sort of way of watching it. Was I wasn't just accepting it all for what it is. I was like, oh yeah, whatever, I need to accept this just needs to be the way it is. No, this is just how it is, and I really did enjoy it, but I just have to accept that myself. That's how I felt. So overall, I am gonna give this, for the pacing and the slowness and the storylines. Oopsie daisy, didn't mean to do that, but for the pacing and the story and the slowness, I'll probably give it about about a 7 out of 10. You know, it gets over the line. You know, it gets the job done. But Will and the acting and all of a few of the reveals intrigued me, so I'm still going to keep watching it, and I'm going to cover the next volume. So overall, that's how I felt. I would say it's 7 out of 10 for all those reasons, and probably about 8 out of 10 for all the acting and things. So yeah, it's not a bad way to start a new type of chapter in the Stranger Things universe. This is the best way I can describe all of it. This is a bit of a deep dive on the channel, but I just have to really go for it and give you all the details. And I actually got my head around everything now. I feel better now for doing my video and thinking about it properly. So yeah, stay tuned for more reviews like this one, and hopefully I do finally find a Christmas movie to review, because it is that time of year, and you can see I've got like little Santa characters in the back of my video, so I'll have to get around to that as well. But stay tuned for more reviews like this one. I'll see you in another video on the James Ramburn Reviews. I'm gonna head through the Upside Down, and I will press the upload button and get all of this on my channel. So yeah, bye. Peace.